Hello, everyone. Welcome. So glad you're here. Hi. Hello. If you can be on camera, that's fantastic. If you can't be, that's not a problem either. Welcome, everyone. Such a beautiful day. And thank you for being here to honor our sister, our doula, our inspiration. What a great day this is, as every day is, because we were touched by this angel in our lives, and so lucky that we are. So we are going to, Eileen, the flowers of your, I don't even know how to do that. I think I do. You can go in the back. Love it though, just saying. Love the flowers and love the flowers in your hair. Uh, Thank you, everyone. We are going to have a celebration of life for one of the most amazing people I've gotten to know in my journey. And I know you all feel the same way. Hi, sweetie. It's good to see. Hi there. We have some very special people on here. Everyone is special, but some very special people are on here. That's wonderful. Um, so I want to start out by, if I may, just to share a little bit about my journey with Staci. And I also want to then invite everyone who would like to say a few words about what Staci has meant to you. And I'll also say this, that after Staci left this journey of this physical journey, because you can't stop Staci from doing her magic and her work. So she's working. She's just doing this in a different way. And her love. I often, would think about what she meant to me, but then the amount of messages and people that were posting about their own personal relationship with her and what Staci did for them, and I couldn't believe it. I don't even know how it's physically possible for her to have that much interaction. But again, we work in different ways, but that's the magic of Staci. So without too much further ado, I just want to make sure that no one's sitting in the waiting room. I am going to start off. And so obviously, that Staci came into my life, and people come into your life. Don't try and control the journey. Allow the universe to open paths for you. And Staci was one of these angels, just came in to my life and just became a really big part of it, a very big part of Doulagivers. And a few months, about 4 or 5 months before she physically left this world, she sent me an email. And so it's very interesting because we talk about sometimes when people have, on some level of their consciousness, know that they might be leaving this world. And I'm not saying that this is definitely related, but again, I want you to make your own conclusions. But it was just a very interesting email out of the blue from our beautiful Staci. And I want to read it to you. She said, I realized that you didn't know my whole story or background, so here it is. And it really is almost that first person eulogy. And it was just something that I really want to share with all of you. She says, as the oldest of 6 girls, I was born to be a caregiver. When I was 7, my mother put my 2-month-old sister in my arms and said, I'm going to nursing school. So here's your last baby doll. She said, that's a true story. I worked for over 20 years for the state of Louisiana at Pinecrest Support and Services with mentally and physically disabled adults. I was a home supervisor with 16 men who lived in the home and 4 to 5 employees under me. I had to take early medical retirement because I broke my ankle, and being a diabetic on the insulin pump, no doctor would operate. I was there when both my grandparents died. My good friend passed in my arms while on hospice due to pancreatic cancer. I have always been the one who folks call in times of sickness and death. I was the main caregiver for both of my in-laws. I have been a doulagiver my entire life, so I thank you for giving me a name and a real purpose. I am excited to see where 2024 takes me, but no matter the path, I am honored to walk with you. She said, I want to share with you this story about my name. Everyone get ready if you don't know this one. Her name is Anna. Her birth name was Anastasia Antoinette Seals. That was on her first birth certificate. And she writes that. And I want you to hear what I just said. She says, that was on my first birthday certificate. And we often will talk about our death in this physical, our end of this physical being a second birthday. And I think she was stating that there. My daddy supposedly held me in one hand and said, That's too big of a name for this little thing. He changed it to Staci with a Y. My mama wanted Staci with an I. So family and friends know me as Staci with an I, but officially I am Staci. And I just wanted to share that with you because honestly, I always wondered sometimes the I, sometimes the Y. That was one thing. And I heard stories about her taking care of her sisters. But I also want you to know just the impact that her path has had. And then coming to Doula Givers and the way that she showed up for people. I never heard Staci say a bad word about anybody. I have never, and even when there were things that went on, because it's the human experience, right? I never heard her say a bad word about anybody. She was so inspiring and so encouraging to all of our students and to, just propel the movement forward. So, I often will think about what would Staci say in certain circumstances, or what would Staci show up like? And if we all showed up like her in this world, just keep using her as that beacon because she is the example of what we all can attain to be on a daily basis. No judgment, love, and just a great, great person. So to bring anyone comfort that may need it, and I understand how it is difficult to not have the physical person here. Staci had been suffering physically with a lot of issues since she had gotten COVID. I think it was about 2 years prior. And she was one to not complain, and she was one to show up and trying a lot of different things. And I know that she had a lot of nerve pain and things that were going on physically for her. So to see that she's relieved of that is incredibly comforting because she endured a lot in her time. And I know that she's still always with us doing her thing. So, I mean, I hold that in my heart. But we are also going to keep her work alive and her spirit alive, not only in how we carry her memories with us every single day and the gratitude and blessings that she's brought to our lives that will never go away, but also for doula givers, because it was such a pivotal part of her life and our life having her part of it. We have the annual Staci White Scholarship Award. That is going to be an annual award where we can keep Staci's memory alive, but also her good work, paying it forward. We do have a recipient. She doesn't know yet, but we'll announce the name of who that is this week. But it is a woman in her retirement years who wants to work for her community and be, in my opinion, really what Staci was doing, showing up in that space and love with her community with all this good energy. And so we'll share, I don't want to say her name, but we'll share once this week that award. But every year we're going to give a full scholarship. And now the full price of our training has gone up because we only have that one high level practitioner. And it's a wonderful award, and it's great to shine the light on Staci, her work, and in her name, give that award every year to somebody around her birthday, which is November 5th. So it is wonderful. Now, I asked a few people to please kick us off in this beautiful place because they were very close with Staci, and we'd like to hear from them. So we're going to ask you to all share if you would like to, but we want to hear from the few people again that I said, could you start us off in this love fest? And that's going to be Laura, Maggie, and Erin with her two little angels that are with her. So Laura, if I could, let me give you the ability to unmute yourself because you might want to share a little bit about your traveling this journey with Staci. You, Staci, myself have been on it for a very long time. And thank goodness that you were on this journey with me because you know how rapidly we grew in Doula Givers and you both showed up in the most magnificent way that I can never say enough appreciation for it. So Laura, why don't you go ahead if you could, and thank you so much for being here.
My heart is filled with such gratitude today for everything that has happened to me since I joined Doula Givers. So, I've often heard people say that other people come into our life for a reason, a season, or forever. And Staci came into my life when I signed up. I said yes to the universe, and I took the Doula Giver training. And we were in the same class. And then we were both honored to be asked to work for Doulagivers. And I can speak for her and for me, because it was the highest level of service I'd ever known. And it was something I was craving my whole life. And I also felt like Staci was a twin soul in that, because we had the same heart approaching this. I'm trying to read what I wrote, and I have blurry eyes from my tears, but if you bear with me, I so want to get through this. So, we were involved in supporting students and also Suzanne's vision of changing the world one life and one death at a time. And throughout the years, there were many chats and texts and uplifting calls. So I came to know Staci very well. There was never a time when I didn't feel how much Staci cared about everyone. With a generous heart, she also made a difference wherever there was a need, whether it was a struggling student who didn't know how to use Zoom or how to get into, the classroom, or a caller who was isolated in a rural part of the world who had no support. She would spend evenings just walking through somebody through the end of the life of their loved one. She was consistently giving her ear, her heart, and her patient time to always leave things better than she found them. We all witnessed her positivity and cheerfulness in every Facebook response, every Zoom call, and every thoughtful gesture that she put through. And all the suggestions, always had a suggestion for somebody who was desperate. And we also watched her struggle with grace to care for her aging father-in-law, Leon, and to bear the loss of family members, including her rescue dog, Ziggy. And I like to think that they're together now, so she's not alone. And regrettably, Staci had to face some debilitating and painful medical issues, which she never alluded to. And she carried on her mission of bringing joy and hope to everyone. Her husband, Alan, has shared with me that even when in the hospital on oxygen, she had her laptop and she just continued to work, in a frenzy. And that was quintessential Staci. There was no stopping her. What you might not know is how much of her time and love she extended to her fellow doula givers. This is probably a story not many people know, but we had a pair of doula givers who live in Alaska, Patty and Greg Howe. And they reached out to Staci because there was an acquaintance they knew in Louisiana, and they were very worried he was in a very dire situation. And so Staci and her husband, Alan, in tow, traveled hours just to track down this man in rural woods in Louisiana. And the man was like very guarded and said, "We're here because Patty and Greg want to get in touch with you." And she put them in touch with him. And he actually went up to Alaska so that they could assist him. And she never wanted thanks. She was just so happy to do it. But that was Staci's heart. As a friend, whenever I was struggling, I always knew I could reach out to Staci. She would always have some advice for me, and she never disappointed, and she always left me with a prayer. And I never knew a person who was so accepting and encouraging and non-judgmental. So now that she's no longer here on earth, I wonder how we'll carry on without her shining light and positive energy. And the first thing I plan to do is, when in crisis or dilemma, ask myself, what do I imagine she would say to me? And let that guide me. I also believe that in exchange for all her gifts, I will be recommitting myself to making the world a better place by being of service. I think that collectively we can try to fill the gap that Staci's absence has presented. And I know she'll be so honored if we can each do that. Our doula sister, Patty, that I mentioned earlier, passed away in December. And I'm certain that she and Staci are still learning more about each other in their heavenly presence, guiding us all with their wisdom and urging us on to be the very best we can be. So clearly, Staci came into my life for a reason and a season, but I'll remember her forever. Let's make her proud. Let's continue the work that is so desperately needed. Staci, rest in pain-free peace, dear one. You surely deserve it. Endings are just a blip on the tail end of a journey, leaving us with the burden of grief to carry. but it's also not the most important part of the trip. It's our challenge to find the gratitude for the totality of a lifetime and the memories and the shared experiences. So let's hold on to those and always think to ourselves, what would Staci do? Thank you.
Laura. Really, really beautiful. So much there, which is just so perfect. But I really want to invite us in also to know that she's here. Different. Your loved ones are here. But I love that what she taught us and the grace in which she taught us and the examples in which she led will be our light, can be our light. But also, how do we honor her? We honor her by keeping this to the highest level. You know, that angel showed up to every ULM, every Align-A-Size, every meeting, everything. She was, I mean, she was just beyond an example of just greatness and still is. So we're happy that she's not in that physical pain. We miss the squeeze. But I know that she's guiding us and leading us. Laura, that was so beautiful. If you have that written down somewhere, I'd love a copy of that. That is
Yes,
just so
I'll get that to you.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you, Laura. And what a
Shall
blessing
we
to have
put it
you
in
and
the
her
group?
both
Can
on
you
that
put it in
journey.
one of the groups?
Yeah, Laura will, if she feels comfortable, she'll put it in the group if that's okay. Laura, I think they're
Yeah.
requesting that. That's beautiful.
All
Thank
right.
you, dear. All right, Maggie, will you go next? And then we'll have Erin go next. You should be able to unmute yourself.
Yes, I got it now, I think.
All right.
I didn't write mine all the way out, but I did take a few cliff notes. Staci was probably one of my first contacts when I started this process. And to be honest, I started in 21 and really didn't really get thinking about going until 23. I had a stepmom on hospice. I had a lot of things going on. And when I tackle something, I'm very hard on myself and I have high expectations. Staci was absolutely the healing balm for me in that situation. She always had a kind demeanor. No matter what, she had a kind demeanor. I found her to be very loving, very caring. I think one of the things I love most about her was I typically think sometimes my questions are stupid. Maybe somewhere it got answered and I was in the bathroom. I mean, I just miss it. And I would say to her, I know this is a stupid question, and I don't know if she's already answered it or not, but can you help me? And before she tried to help me, she said, there's no such thing as a stupid question. Any question is okay. And I found great peace in that. I'd been beating myself up so badly that to hear that felt good. It felt good. Um, she always seemed to understand, no matter what my circumstances were. I'm sick. Well, she understood. My stepmom is in hospice. She understood. My stepmom's not in hospice. She understood. No matter what it was, whatever it was that I perceived standing in my way, total understanding. And she always said to me, I was a slow starter. And she always said to me, in divine timing is everything. Sometimes there may be a reason that you are not on this right now. Maybe you're having to tend to this over here as part of your journey. Quit beating yourself up for what seems like obstacles to you, but perhaps the universe is directing you in other areas or putting some detours out just for a little bit so that you'll be where you're supposed to be a little bit later. Very calming. I was saying that because I tend to be in a frenzy a lot. And I found her energy to just really be always, she'd be excited for you, which was great. But I don't, like we've said before, I never heard her say anything ugly. I don't ever remember her. I think I had one conversation with her, and that was via Messenger, I think. And she wasn't quite feeling well. One time. And all the, 2 years, 3 years, I knew her. That non-judgmental piece just was huge for me. Laura mentioned that a while ago. Now, I found out, I'll never forget, I was lying in bed. I've never met anybody with my birthday, November 5th, ever. And I noticed on Facebook people were saying happy birthday, and I sent her a messenger and said, "Is today your birthday too?" And so from that moment on, we became twins. Now, I was the older one, I have to admit. She was the prettier one, I have to admit. But we were already close before that. And that sameness and that oneness tended to bond us even further than we were before. And I will always be grateful for those early days when she made me feel like it was okay, that I was exactly where I was supposed to be. Her
Mhm.
commitment to us and her dedication to us was like no other.
Mhm.
She loved Doula Givers. She loved Suzanne and she loved all of us. And the coolest thing about that is we knew it. We felt it and we have it in our heart.
Maggie, thank you so much. I think every thread of what I'm hearing you say is that Staci was the epitome of an example of holding space and being with wherever you were in that. And I want everyone to really take that in, because it's not about doing, it's not about fixing, it's not about pushing you where you should be doing more and more. It's where perfectly accepting you and allowing you to accept the grace of exactly where you are at this moment. And she just did that. I mean, there's so much wisdom within her and so much grace within her. And again, I don't really know how she physically was able to, because she has magic, be with so many people. I hear this from students that she reached out and she guided me, and I'm like, how we have hundreds of people that are saying that. How did she possibly do that? So it's really beautiful. So Maggie, thank you so much. What a lucky girl you are to have a twin like Staci. And what
Oh,
a
absolutely. Absolutely. One last thing, sometimes when we get a message, it doesn't suit us to respond right away. I can't think of a time that I sent a message to her, a messenger, that I didn't get a response within 30 minutes, except for one time when she was out with a client and she apologized profusely for being an hour and a half late. But in her mind, but I just thought that was the coolest thing, was she was so attentive to anything we needed or any question we had. And for that, I think it's beautiful. And I'll always be grateful.
Me too. And I just want to share that not only is it great that you have a twin in her, that she has a twin in you. So, because you are equally as wonderful. Thank you so much, Maggie, for that. All right, Erin, I see that your camera's off. So if you need some more time, week up, camera's on. Well, hello and hello. We're so happy to have all of you here.
Having us.
Thanks for having us.
Hi.
She wanted the phone. She just bonked her head on the chair. So,
How are you guys today? I heard your song, by the way, and I absolutely loved it. I had a song and Staci had a song. We are the two of the luckiest girls in the world.
happy birthday. We sent the videos.
Yes.
She liked
Beautiful. I loved it.
it. Thank you all for being here today. It's good to see all y'all's faces.
I'm you, Suzanne.
No,
Thank you. Hi.
just you, Suzanne.
Love you guys.
Oh, we're here for a beautiful reason today, for a beautiful person, and doesn't mean
My sister, she bumped her head on the racket chair.
okay. It's gonna be okay. And that person is Staci, and our beautiful unicorn, as I call her. We love unicorns.
Hi.
I first met Staci when Doulagivers, when I stumbled across Doulagivers, I don't believe in coincidences, and Staci's name always was there popping up in the chat on your face when we would do her comments when we were actually in the Doulagivers program. I was the program after hers. I believe that's what we decided. And my interactions with her have always been beautiful. And after we got out of, or I finished the Doula Givers in December of 22, I believe. ULM was brought forth. And when I joined ULM as, hey, please be respectful, please, respectfully, stop. I was like, I wonder if I'm going to see a familiar face or somebody familiar that I know from Doula Givers. And Staci was the first person, or the first face that I saw. And I went, oh, that's awesome. This is for a reason. And as we got closer, we realized how much we had in common. And then Suzanne invited us to the Elizabeth Kubler-Ross Foundation seminar when she was a guest speaker for that foundation in Guatemala. And Staci and I were, it was crazy because I was sitting there fretting because I couldn't find the link to log on. And as I'm sitting there fretting, trying to figure out how to log on to this for the first day of it, I get a message from a messenger from Staci. She said, "Are you logging on? Here's a link if you need it." And it's like, there she was. And so there was group participation with each speaker. And we decided, well, okay, just because we're doing this online doesn't mean that we can't participate. So I guess we're partners. I had no idea how close that would bring us. And it went on from there. Her unconditional love, her friendship, her authenticity, her love for Doula Givers, her true love for Suzanne, and how grateful she was for having Suzanne in her life and what Suzanne meant to her and everybody. As she said, Suzanne is always the real deal. What you see is her. And she said, I give her gratitude and everybody who's a part of Doula Givers and everybody who stop, please. And everybody who will be our future members, because it's going to continue to grow. Our family will always continue to grow. She's been there for me as a friend. And I had the honor of holding that beautiful person. We got to meet in person last March. And I wish I would have held on a little longer. She has a beautiful husband. He is a sweetheart, and the love that he has for her, and the love she has for him will be eternal, and that goes for all of us. She was there for me when my mom was dying. The support that I had for her, that I had from her. And like you said, she's been through it. She understands. She gets it. Her and Eileen were huge. Through that whole MTV, everybody. And I always say, you had great timing, Staci. Did you have to die right after my mom? You know, and I kind of, and I mean that jokingly, and like in humor. You have to fight. Please stop. Girls, I'm gonna stop, please, please. It's all right. Shh. Hey, I'm sorry. Give me just a moment, please. Stop. Look, we have other people who want to speak to you, so can we please be quiet and be respectful? We're here for Staci, okay? Okay. You can in just a minute. I will forever miss her saying, "I love you and yours." She's around us always. Her unconditional love for us and everybody. her spirit is alive, and I have to remember that. I give gratitude for having her in my life, and I'm going to continue to focus on positive that she has brought forth. And I keep hearing her say, "You have to mention my church." Her church, stop. Her church was her other family. And she said, "You know, my church is small. There's like 12 of us, y'all. But my children are my children, and I love them. And they're my family." And for the love that she continued to pour out to her community, and everybody around her, whether she was not feeling well or not, she was always there. She was always present, and her support is there. So fly high, unicorn. I know you're around us. So thank you for letting me speak. I love you all.
I want to get
Thank you, guys. Thank you. That was beautiful, Erin. And I remember Staci talking about you both being on the Guatemala conference and what an incredible bonding and journey that was. And I was so grateful and about you being there cheering me on and the experience that we had together and all of that. Thank you for that. You got to see Staci in person, which is a unique thing. And I also want to talk about the timing. So I understand, that you had a lot going on, and I love that what you shared. I also want to share with you when Staci left the physical world, we were in a live semester, and a lot of people might not know this who weren't part of that. But we were in a live semester with Doulagivers, and she literally waited for the last class to be done. And that's just like Staci. Not to disrupt, because she was such a very strong part of that semester, as she always is, helping students. Everyone would have been not able to concentrate in their shock phase. And she's like, "I'm not going to interrupt that. So what I'll do," this is kind of what I'm thinking, "is the last class is on Tuesday night. Wednesday, I'll transition kind of quietly while they're kind of wrapping up." And it was just, it was just like that. And I said, of course she would do something like that. So again, if we step into some of the things that we know about the higher self and the ability to, that's our true soul self, so sometimes have, again, a bit of orchestration or control over some of this. She sent me the email. "Erin, you got to meet her in person, which was such a gift. Here she is, not going to interrupt the beautiful semester of the graduates." It's just like her. So holding on to all of that is just amazing. So thank you, Erin, and thank you, the angels with you, who I know Staci absolutely adored as well. Eileen, your hand is up. So would you like to share some love at this moment?
Yes, I would. I want to echo everything everyone has said about Staci and kind of share what my personal connection to her was that was so important, and why Doulagivers has been so important. I really didn't have contact with anyone. And I started in the spring of 2022. And I really didn't have contact with anyone. I think Janine wrote back to me an email I sent to Suzanne saying, like, this was what my therapist had recommended, because I'm like one of the few people she ever had met who isn't afraid of death and dying, and actually finds it a beautiful space. And because we're at our highest to the extent we can be. But my personal experience with Staci after getting a response to that email and was I reached out to Staci because I suddenly had this panic that I was too damaged to be part of Doulagivers. And like everyone said, I sent her a Facebook message, and less than 30 minutes she responded, and we had a few text back and forth. And then she said, well, you better call me then, or I better call you. What's the number? And I told her that I had complex PTSD and explained that it's a syndrome with multiple sub-diagnoses, and that my fear of any kind of academia was part of my trauma, one of my many early traumas. And Staci's response was just like, you're going to fit in just fine. Don't worry about it. And I thought, okay, well, that's just Staci, you know? Wasn't. It was Doulagivers. And it was Staci as kind of the most accessible person for somebody who was having second thoughts about whether they were ready to be in this class and ready to be a doula giver. And I've had all kinds of other things going on too, as other people have mentioned. But what I've loved about Staci and all of Doula Givers and all of us as a family is the acceptance without judgment, is the meeting people where they're at, is the seeing yourself in that other person or seeing that other person in you. And I had a meltdown at one point over technical issues, and Staci was really upset, and I was not very nice about it. And I'm just so grateful that wasn't my last contact with her, that we had plenty of other contacts afterwards. And I knew she and Aaron were meeting up. And I had my book out here because I'm not exactly sure. I was trying to look through my texts to see what date it was that Staci changed form. But on May 23rd, when I was still riding pretty high on all the work I had done to prepare for surgery, to prepare for that re-traumatization, to call in my mother and have her be there with me. And some of that, I think, was very inspired by Staci and certainly by the Doulagivers family as a whole. But on May 23rd, just out of the blue, I was sitting here, and this is one of my favorite chairs when I come out and sit out in the great room. And I just heard in this voice, this will be a year of many losses. And it sure has been. It has been a year of many losses for me. Some things change, some remain the same, but they might change in form. And I draw on that. I draw on my ancestors and on Staci. I have another very close friend who was magical also, who died about 10 years ago. She was supposed to only live to be 9 years old, and she made it to 39, and I was at her 39th birthday. She was my animal communicator when I ran the parrot sanctuary. And those people have been my inspiration because of the values they embodied and the work that they've done. And in these times that we've been in, really, for almost a decade now, including the pandemic and political unrest and a lot of hatred spewing out everywhere, I think it's more important than ever to think about what people like Staci or my mom or my grandfather would do, or Suzanne, or whoever we hold on to as heroes. And I think it's so important that we have them because the work is never done. And I have been able to somehow start shifting my narrative that, I should have been like president of the United States based on the freaking expectations put on me. Really, it was deadly. And I learned that I can't do that. And I can't make the changes like my grandfather did. It was a different time. He could make changes that affected tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of people at a time. We can help one life at a time. That's what I did with animals. That's what I will do with people. And we'll continue to do with animals. And I hold on to that. And that I know I didn't have any unicorns, but I know Staci loved purple, and there were no purple backgrounds, but I just feel honored to have been welcomed into this family by those simple words. You'll fit right in. It's not even fitting in. You'll be accepted. And many of you have seen me cry and scream and swear during ULM, but it's probably been the most productive. These 2.5 years have probably been the most productive period of growth for me in a post breakdown awakening season. And I want to thank all of you for being here today. And I'm just so grateful for all of you.
Thank you, Eileen. That was gorgeous. I love that. So a few things, if I may, just to cement into the moment, is that it's really about how we choose to show up every day. And I really want to honor you with the work that you've done, how you've shown up for yourself. And you said it here today. You said the expectations, and I just want to share this with people. The minute you remove expectations of others and of yourself, you are free. You are free. That's a key to be free. And when we follow the heart consciousness and guidance and let it unfold for you, it'll show you the way. So much here, but we have to do the work. And to me, impermanent. So everything is impermanence. I know I didn't really love that concept when I first heard it, because, we like things to somewhat stay the same in certain places, but impermanence, we have to embrace the fact that everything will change. We don't know when, we don't know how, but everything will change. And here's what it does. It allows you to sit in this moment today and just be grateful and embrace every morsel of what is in your life at this moment. Because when you do that, when it does change, and it will, hopefully you'll be able to say, okay. So releasing expectations of yourself, releasing them of others, will free you. And we know that forgiveness is the tool to do that, and living in the present moment. And Staci was the example of how you show up every day, no matter what the circumstance.
And of forgiveness. I just want to read actually what I wrote down.
Sure.
On May 23rd. This will be a time of many losses. Some things endure, but nothing stays the same. Change is constant, and with all change, there is newness and there is grief.
I love that, Eileen. And I want to invite us to do this possibly, is when we use the word loss, can we look at it possibly of change, right? This is change. And then when something ends, something new begins. So what is here for us to go in the next iteration of the journey? Because when we come from a different perspective and a higher vibration of how we look at it, the gifts start to flow in differently. So just being mindful, again, I think a lot of this is how we've been taught in the human experience of blocks, of loss, of victim more. And again, we want to flow in that higher frequency because it just allows us to get there quicker. So when something is in its change, like I love that you said, Eileen, Staci changed form, what day? And I love that. I love sharing that so much because and that form has wings, and that form is a unicorn, and that form is not in pain. And like, that's a very empowering moment. Don't like that I can't squeeze her physically at this very moment, although who knows what's possible, because I'll just put that out there. But what is the birth of something anew here? And also, what does it teach us? And so let's think in terms of how we look at things that are changing as opportunities, and also where new beginnings, because it can really help to come from a different perspective. So love that so much, what you shared. And if we may, I'd love to come into a prayer at the end, meditation here, and let's surround our Staci. I want you to pick up your image of her, time with her, however you want to vision her, as we are going to bring in this love and hold it surrounding her for quite a bit as we go into that place. So if you would please, if there's anyone else that has anything they'd like to share here, the shares were just beautiful, lots of beautiful things in the comments. And everyone, just thank you for taking time out of your schedule to be here today to honor this woman who we will continue to be honoring and talk about every single day. She is a light that guides us. So if you feel called, you can close your eyes. We're going to do our deep breathing and bring in the love and really hold Staci collectively in our heart energy, and just hug her and feel her as we know that she is right here with us. If you feel called, you can close your eyes. We're going to do 3 deep breaths and then bring in the light and then send it out into the world. And breathe in and hold and let it go. Breathe in and hold and let it go. Breathe in and hold and let it go. And your eyes are closed, but we imagine that we are outside and the clouds part and the sun is so bright right above our head, and it's just pouring into your body, beautiful golden loving light, going down your spine, through your chakras, through your root chakra to the center of the earth, swirling around, coming back up your spine, up through your chakras to that high sun. And now it's expanding like these golden wings. This golden light is just expanding. I just see this beautiful unicorn with golden wings that are just so expansive, showering each and every one of you with so much love. This golden light is coming back down, just bathing your bodies, all of us collectively and individually, in this beautiful love, going down your spine, going through your chakras and washing away anything and everything that is not serving your highest consciousness, through your root chakra to the center of the earth, swirling around in this golden ball of energy. And when it comes back up now, if you feel called, you can put your hands over your heart, and we're going to send this beautiful light out to each and every one in this group, and then to the world. Here it comes, bursting through your hands, swirling around each and every one of you. And now we're going to expand this light out further to your family members and community members, all of your loved ones, this ball of golden light. There is no limit to this ball of golden light. This is abundant. This is limitless. This grows as far and wide as you want it to grow, and it is expansive right now. Now we're going to surround the state. Please take the state or province that you live in and surround it in a golden bubble of light. And let's add in Louisiana at this moment, sending Louisiana, this magical state that held this magical unicorn. What a gift. We are so grateful. Surround it in a golden bubble of light. Now, please take the country that you live in and surround it in a golden bubble of light in its totality. And just hold it there. Now, I want you to take a deep breath through your nose and hold and let it go. And I want you to remember one of your favorite memories with Staci in this physical life. Maybe it was with ULM, maybe it was a personal phone call. She was always so positive and inspirational. And I want us to sit here in this moment and bring that into your heart, that memory. And I want you to feel it as if it's happening right now. I want you to feel that memory and that love expand. You can hear her voice, her smile. And let that love grow and grow, that light grow larger and larger and larger. Now let us take this golden energy and surround the earth with this love of the highest level, with no judgment, meeting people where they are, accepting each and every person, sending love to those who are suffering. Let them be seen, let them be heard. Let us hold each and every being, every animal, every part of nature, the planet, in this loving light that is fueled with the example, the grace, and the energy of our Staci. And just hold it there. And let us give gratitude and thanks for being able to be touched by this angel in this world at this time. What she has taught us, how she has enriched our lives, has changed all of our lives. And let us set the intention how we can go forth every single day and show up with the example that Staci taught us, with the love, not fixing it for people, just being with. And we always want to ask how we can show up to be of the highest service. Let us see, let us know, let us hear how we can show up, each and every one of us, to be of the highest service to ourselves and to the world. And we know how to do that by choice and showing up in love. And Staci, of course, is the model and the example of how to do that. Breathe into that and let it go. We give gratitude and thanks for each and every one of you for showing up to be of the highest service at this time. And that's how we change the world. Breathe in and let it go. And so it is. And when you are ready, you can open your eyes and come into the room. Take it slow. Just stay here for a minute. And as I walk this morning, as I normally do, out in nature and think about all and how we show up at this moment and just waiting for inspiration and having Staci's life celebration today. It's through our own healing and making that choice to show up and to heal ourselves is how we heal the world. And that is the most important thing each and every one of us can do. It is not a big this, it is not a doing that, it's exactly that. I show up to heal the human parts that I am to learn from that are uncomfortable. Yes. And when I do that, that heals the collective. And I show up with that every single day out in the world with my healing. And that's how we change the world. And Staci is the example of that. So with her being our guiding angel, we will go forth every day and do that, and just connect with that and remind yourself of that every day, that all we have to do is show up in the best healed version of ourselves. That's how we change the world. So I want to thank you all so much for all of the love that you have brought here today. Staci, thank you for being here, because she is magnificent, and you can call on her at any time. You can call on her at any time. She is right there with us and cheering us on. And by the way, she expects us to keep going. And of course we will. So I love you guys so much. By the way, it is a Saturday, so go out and please enjoy and dance and feel the love that is all around you. I love you guys so very much. Thank you for being here. We'll see you in the next one. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, guys. Sending you love.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Love to all of you. Big, big hugs. I'm going to go feed the squirrels. I'll tell you about that later, but okay, we'll tell that on another time. Mwah! Bye, you guys. Love
Bye.
you.